Greta Valenti.
And I'm Robin Davey. We're here in California, Southern California, Orange County to be exact.
Hi folks, my name is Danny del Toro. I am an harmonica player from Madrid, Spain.
Hey, so I'm Els Bailey. I'm in Bristol, in England, and I'm a full-time touring singer-songwriter.
My name is Johnny Max. I am the lead singer of the Johnny Max Band. We're based out of Toronto and St. Catharines in Canada.
My name is Marcus Bonfanti. I'm a guitarist and singer, and I live in London, England.
I'm Zoe Schwartz. I live in Dorchester, which is on the south coast of England, and I am a full-time musician.
Hi, this is Natalie Jean from Kensington, Maryland in the United States of America.
G'day, it's Quinn Ashton here. Of course I live in England, but I got stuck in Australia.
Hi, my name is John Verity. I'm a guitar player and a singer and a songwriter and a record producer. And I'm based in a small village in Bedfordshire in the UK.
Hi, my name's Bex Marshall. I'm in lockdown in London, and I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, guitarist.
So my name is Alex Eden. I live in Bradford, UK, and I'm a musician.
Hello, my name is Alan Oleo, and I'm speaking from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
I'm Rob Correll. I live in Dorchester, Dorset, and my occupation, full-time guitar player.
I'm Susie Starlight.
And I'm Simon Campbell of the Starlight Campbell Band.
And we're here in Lower Saxony in Germany.
Hi, my name is Mike Ross. I'm in Brighton, England. I'm a musician, I'm a singer, songwriter, guitar player.
Hi, my name's Sam Kelly. I'm locked down like most other people. I'm at home, and my occupation, I'm a professional drummer.
Hey there, my name is Ainsley Lister. I live just outside Leicester in the UK, and I have been a professional musician for 22 years.
Hi, my name's Demi Mariner. I live in Cheshire in England, and I'm a singer-songwriter.
Hey, my name is Lisa Mann. I'm a bass player and a vocalist and a band leader, and I'm based in Portland, Oregon in the USA.
My name is Manish Pingle, and I live in Mumbai, India, and I'm an Indian classical musician.
Hi, I am Jade Williams, aka Jade Like the Stone, and I'm in West London, in Brentford, and my occupation, well, it has many different categories. I'm a musician, first and foremost.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Rodman.
And I'm Jason Eckel.
And we're from the band Dirty Cello, and we are in California, United States.
Hi, this is Ian Siegel. I am in sunny Amsterdam, very early in the morning, having my first extremely strong coffee of the day. I am a musician.
My name is Tom. I'm in the United Kingdom, and I'm a course leader at Leeds Arts University for popular music performance.
Hi, my name's Alan Nimmo. I'm here in Glasgow in Scotland, and I'm a professional singer and a guitar player in the band called King King.
Hi, my name is Callum Ingram. I'm a musician, and I'm from Paisley, Scotland.
Hey y'all, my name is Zach Harmon. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I'm currently in Dallas, Texas right now. And I'm a blues musician sitting at home.
So I'm under lockdown. I have been for at least a month, maybe 5 weeks. I'm passing my time by playing the piano. I can play, and I do play a bit live, but I usually surround myself with really, really talented musicians who make me sound good. So one of the challenges I've had is learning how to play my songs, and this is one called Woman Like Me, and it's lots of funny notes that I don't even know what I'm playing, but it was released as a single on the 3rd of April, so I kind of had to learn how to play it. And what I've been doing is I've been doing live streams a lot of the time. I'm learning how to record. I've never engineered myself, so I'm gonna be able to actually record some decent vocals, which should be quite good.
Now, how I'm passing the time, my house has been the cleanest it's ever been. And I think that's the same for everybody. And we're just doing some renovations in the basement
cleaning up the backyard, although it doesn't really look like it, but and going for bike rides and walking the dog. So the dog is loving it.
I suppose technically in London we are under lockdown. It doesn't seem so bad compared to what's going on in a lot of other countries. My cousins in the north of Italy aren't able to leave the house for like but once or twice a week. And whereas in London we got the luxury of being able to leave the house every day. I've got an 8-year-old daughter, so I'm passing the time by spending a lot of time with her, which has been fantastic because I was touring so much the last 8 years she's been alive. I've missed out on a lot, so we're catching up on a lot of lost time, and it's been a really valuable for the two of us.
I shaved.
But you still have a 5 o'clock shadow.
I got stubble again. I shaved. It comes back very quick. That's why I had such a long beard. I capped that.
We are under lockdown and we're passing our time by really figuring things out technologically. We've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives online. We did the Lockdown Festival for the UK. We've done festivals all over California.
Yes, I'm under lockdown for more than 3 weeks now. And how am I passing my time? So in India, firstly, we're quite pampered with otherwise, with maids and cooks. But now since it's a lockdown, no one's coming. So we pretty much have to do everything at home, all the household work, cleaning, washing, cooking and stuff like that. So that takes a lot of my time. Secondly, as a musician, we always complain that when you're traveling, that you don't get much time to practice and you don't get much time to think about new music. So this is actually a good time to do that, and I'm doing the same. I'm really spending a lot of time listening to a lot of good music, different genres of music, which I usually wouldn't. And then practicing it, spending a lot of time with my instrument, and also I do a lot of film watching. Me being a film student also.
We're under the lockdown here. There's nothing going on. I have several things that I do. So I'm just kind of hustling. But for the most part, I'm at home. Definitely not playing any music except here at home. Trying to write, but this is kind of a crazy time, crazy time.
So I've been under lockdown for about a month now, and we pass our time by cooking meals. I'm here with my husband and my stepdad, and we cook meals, we take walks. We're in a nice suburban area where we're able to take walks, but also I've been doing some live streaming. Did the Lockdown Music Fest, and I've done some other streaming events on Facebook, and that's been a lot of fun. So, being a little productive, but probably watching a little too much TV.
I am under lockdown up here in Scotland. The things that I'm doing to pass the time is that there's still plenty of work to be done in terms of looking forward to the release of our new album, the tours that are coming up. Hopefully, we've got some work in October coming, and before that as well. Hopefully things can get pushed in, and we may be okay or we may not be okay to do that. But we have to carry on like it is going to happen, and we just have to carry on preparing for all of that. We've got family life here as well. We're walking dogs every day, trying to keep ourselves busy and exercised, and just carry on with life as normal.
I am under lockdown here in England. It's maybe not so stringently managed as it is in other parts of the world, but we're staying at home, my wife and my kids and I. I go out to see my mum. My mum's a vulnerable, older, disabled lady. So I have to kind of go up there, but other than that, I'm pretty much staying here, and I'm in my studio at the moment where I'm really lucky to be able to create original music. I'm also collaborating with other artists. I've been appearing on quite a number of online live events, both kind of little 15-minute free slots, and I've also been organising some shows with a paywall where people have been buying tickets and then accessing gigs on the Zoom conferencing app.
Here in Maryland, we are on lockdown to the point that, you can only go out, you should only go out if you need essential items. We are supposed to wear gloves and masks. when we go out, and some people wear them, some people don't, which is a shame. But during this time, I've been working. I've tried to keep the same pattern. Every morning I get up, I work out on my stationary bike. I go to the kitchen and work on my 2 laptops for my day job. After work, I work out again because I'd usually be at the gym. Also, like many other people, I've done TikTok videos. I did a video with 2 videos with my cat, working out with my cat, you know, crazy videos. But, you know, at the same time, I'm trying to keep some kind of sanity. So it's been crazy.
Well, under lockdown, still incredibly positive, working hard on music, working hard on playing the guitar, resetting the brain, not having to travel, of course, that's okay for a few weeks, because that builds up and you get tireder and tireder and you don't realise it.
What I'm doing in the lockdown is things that I haven't done for years, is communicating with other musicians. I mean, seriously communicate rather than just talking about work, talking about their life and my life. Having time and communicating with my family, my sons, my granddaughter, my great-grandson, and actually spending time with my partner. We've never been this long together before. And walking, dealing with my drums. I've had a chance to kind of service my drums. Yeah.
To be honest with you, before the lockdown, my workload was insane. I was so busy with things, with catch-up preparations for the album, the tour. I literally didn't have 5 minutes to breathe or think. So in a way, having the lockdown, everything has slowed down just in general, really. Life has slowed down. It's actually given me a chance to catch up on some sleep for the first time in quite a long time. And I've done a lot of things that I just never get time to do. I've done a lot of writing, and also I've been doing some online teaching as well, which is something that I have considered doing before, but always kind of put off just because either thought I don't have time or it's quite complicated. But because I've had this extra time, I've been able to do that. So I've kept busy and motivated and occupied during this time. And I've definitely got enough to keep me going, certainly for the next few weeks. So at the moment, I'm doing okay.
Yes, I'm in lockdown. I'm in London, so it feels a bit weird here because things are a little bit normal and a little bit strange and not normal. So I keep hearing about how the police are stopping people from gathering and, you know, checking people when they're leaving their houses. It's not like that here. It just seems like people are cracking on normally, which is really weird. I'm not. I'm going out like just get my shopping, a bit of food, and then yeah, just trying to be as creative as possible. I feel like if I don't produce an album in this blooming time, then I'm useless. But I've actually been doing a lot of live streaming. I've taught myself how to set up a sound desk and put a microphone through and a piano through and auto harp and backing tracks, and done a few live gigs as well as a daily dose stream. So all of that was new to me. I've never done any of that and had to have a bit of help on the phone and teach myself a bit of it. So that's been interesting.
Yes, I'm under lockdown. I'm locked down with my wife and kids, so that's really nice. I'm enjoying spending time with them. I'm also managing to get up to my recording studio here and do some repair and refurb work. I'm currently refurbishing an old AMEC mixing desk. That's a really nice bit of gear, so that's quite enjoyable. And doing some customer repairs and bits and pieces like that.
So far, I've been passing my time quite comfortably. You know, usually being a professional musician, if I'm not on the road working, I'm at home. So for a lot, sort of some extended period of times, I'm at home doing the things that I have to do anyway. So one has to occupy himself doing all sorts of home duties and cooking, reading. I'm an avid reader. It's funny because I was thinking about the other day, I'm not a musician that actually play very much my guitar at home for whatever reasons. I tend to have a space and a break from it. And I'm having a lot of time for that too. So recently I've been doing some live streams for people that are organizing here in Brazil, having the time to work on things that I like playing at home, all sorts of different styles, and listening to music, watching some films.
I'm passing my time kind of playing music and doing what I would do at home anyway, but just doing, you know, maybe creating a little bit more, doing a little bit more writing, like trying to do some like collaborations with people online. There's lots of cool things you can do. I've been doing live stream concerts, and I did the Lockdown Festival and Isolation Festival, which was really, really cool. Platforms for artists to do shows like festivals, and it was really cool, you know, yeah.
Luckily, we have a studio here, Snake Pit Studio. So I've everything that I possibly need to keep me occupied. I'm lucky. We've also been building a bar area because if we can't go to the bar comes to us.
In terms of filling our time, well, we do what we normally do. We've been writing, we've been recording. I think we've been doing a bit more practicing and developing technique on instruments. I've been doing more on the mandolin and piano and stuff, so we've been working like that. But the most important thing is we've been working on the record.
There's what we have noticed as well, though, since we've not been doing any live gigs, we've been thrown into this online gig world. And that's actually quite petrifying and strange and quite beautiful. And we're still learning about it, really, because it's that thing when you've got to, it's not like you're presenting to camera. You're actually trying to share music and emotion and the whole thing. That's a live concert, and there's no physical audience there, and you can't read any body language, you can't
no atmosphere,
see any
feel,
smiles, you can't see any eyes. It's really bizarre.
We're lucky here in the Netherlands because we're not on the full lockdown such like they are in parts of the States and the UK, so we're still free to walk. We have to keep our distance, social distancing. Most things are closed except for really essential places. All the restaurants and bars are closed, of course, but there's a lot of parks here. And actually, I've been writing and involved in various different projects.
Trying to do computer stuff, getting up to scratch, getting up to date with admin, and I've been putting all our PRS and PPL stuff, and so that's one thing that's good, I suppose. Putting up reviews on our website. The other thing is I'm not brilliant when it comes to technology, so I suppose I ought to be spending my time trying to get better at Spotify and how to get our profile out there more online. But it's not really why I'm in it, I'm in it for the performing, but there we go.
I'm certainly not bored. I'm sitting in my studio here. I've got lots to do. I've just done some mastering for another act, and I'm producing a band at the moment as we speak. So I am keeping busy day to day.
We are under lockdown since March 14. I'm a lucky man because I have my own school for the last 15 years. Then I can keep the lessons online with my students.
Whilst I've been in lockdown, I've been passing my time by doing this daily video series called Artist of the Day. It's a series that myself and my partner Robbie Cavanagh, who's also an incredible musician, put together, and the whole premise behind it is that we cover a different artist song every day, and then we put that video out online, and we encourage people to and direct them to that artist's website to buy their merchandise, follow them on their social media, stream their music, like anything that they can do to support them during this really bizarre time.
Yes, I am under lockdown, and I'm passing my time by doing what all musicians and teachers do, which is practicing, learning more, making things and planning.
The first effects that the virus had on me was having my gigs cancelled, left, right and centre, and not knowing when we might restart gigging again.
We had our tour cancelled just right at the beginning of this, so we lost a lot of money on that tour because we we fronted the money for it. So we made the investment in the tour, and we're figuring out how we're going to get that money back, and
Or if we're going
to get that money back, we were able to kind of shift, like we had a van hire, and they don't actually give you, they only give you 50% of the deposit back.
My band was set to play the funnest and best paying gig of the year. It's called the South Coast Clam Bake. We do it every year, and we have a lot of friends there. We were so looking forward to it, and that was when the state got locked down for anything over 250 people.
My tour, my big tour, which was supposed to happen in June in England. I was supposed to be performing at Glasgow, Mela, and a few other places, my solo stuff and with blues music. The entire tour got cancelled.
All of the touring that we had planned for 2020, from the start of 2020 in springtime, was had to be cancelled and postponed. So of course, this means that we don't get to tour. We don't get to actually earn a living.
I was supposed to record a bunch of songs, work on a bunch of collaborations, but because of the pandemic, I cannot, obviously, because I can't be near my music producer or be in his studio.
Well, I've had to cancel pretty much all my tours of this year. A 3-week tour of New Zealand, 2-week tour of Czech Republic, a month in Norway, a Cyprus writing retreat in the summer, several festivals, it goes on and on. So financially, quite devastating.
The first effect was 2 major jobs for Grow Vision got canceled and our tour got completely canceled. So I would say 2 of our 3 sources of income were immediately wiped away.
I had to postpone my tour. I was about a third into, maybe a quarter into a big tour of the UK and Europe.
All of our work for certainly the next few months was just cancelled, just wiped out completely. And that included like a couple of short German trips, which we had booked in, a 3-week German tour, which also sort of took us to Holland and a few other countries as well. That was cancelled. And although all of the venues are sort of saying, "Oh yeah, we can reschedule for next year," we'd have been going back to these venues next year anyway. So we've essentially lost the work.
They stopped me earning any money. Full stop. It's also wiped out months of planning by obviously us losing lots of gigs we timed specifically for a new album, which has been so well received, and those gigs have gone. So yeah, it's disastrous for us.
We last played a couple of theatre shows and Blues Society shows March 12th and 13th and have had nothing since then. The whole industry shut right down that weekend.
Pretty much all of my pay has stopped except for the stuff from the school, which is, a quarter of my pay. So it's been really difficult.
So I remember at gigs in London, I played quite a few residencies in cafes and bars, seeing the numbers decline quite sharply as news of this broke. Obviously the gigs carried on, the bars stayed open, but you definitely saw a change in people, and a change in people on the tubes as well. Saw a lot of people already wearing the masks and distancing themselves from others. So you could already see what was coming, but I don't think anyone knew what it was.
Well, in March there was a heavy cloud, and on the 3rd of April we had our album release, Chameleon, and that was the week the lockdown happened. So basically we lost all our gigs, all our income basically, and so pretty disastrous.
Like most self-employed people, of course, immediate loss of work, and that was pretty rough. It still is. And we're only beginning to realise how far-reaching that's going to be.
Suddenly, halfway through March, I guess, this virus began to take control of all the news reports in the world and everything. And 3 dates of my tour got cancelled. The last 3 dates, which I'm very lucky because I got 57 dates out of it.
While I was playing my last gig, the club was almost empty. It was a strange feeling, but it was okay. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I saw my telephone and I had a lot of cancellation for that week. And at the end of that week, all my dates were cancelled until the summer.
I stalled my whole live show schedule, so I had to kind of think on my feet on what to do when all that happened. You know, I've been stuck at home, and I'm just trying to get everything, you know, together and get used to the situation.
Was, of course, shows being cancelled, but we also discovered spare time we had never had.
I had a Norwegian festival show cancelled about 10 days before we were due to fly out. I had a message from the promoter saying that their town council had decided to close their town. They were not letting anybody in. And then after that, it was a bit of a like dominoes, really. That went my other two shows that weekend, and within about 5 days I'd lost 3 months worth of live work.
Just the complete cancellation of all work, all tours, all gigs, all festivals, even going like through the summer, everything. It sort of felt like we went to bed and then woke up and overnight everything had been cancelled. Nobody really knew what the next move was. Like, none of us knew did we reschedule for another date, or did we know when a new date would be that we could reschedule for, when all of this will be over with. Like, I think it was really difficult to know what your next step was. It just felt like everything just like powered off for a little while. And obviously when you're a self-employed musician, when you lose all of your work, you lose all of your income. So that was quite a frightening few days when that was all going on, and we were kind of like, what do we do? Like, how are we going to figure this out?
So in January, we were doing some gigs in the UK, and Josh Phillips from Procol Harum was joining us on keys for our gig at the Half Moon in Putney. And when he picked us up in the car, I distinctly remember he just said, "Put your hands out." I said, "What?" He just went, "Splodge." And it's like, for both of us, it's like, you've been on a ferry, you've heard about the virus, you need to keep your hands clean. And it was like, what are you on about? And it sounded a bit crazy. And he started talking to us about it. And then we started to think about this when we were doing the gig in London, then we went to Sheffield, and all the time we're thinking, what's going on with this virus? Then we started looking at the news more, and then we came back, and I'm looking at people on the ferry thinking, what's going on? And then you're looking at other countries, and we're here in Germany, and suddenly it was like, bang, lockdown, and all our gigs got cancelled.
We were due to start a tour when this first raised its ugly head. We just finished a new album called Passion, and we were just about to hit the road. In fact, we did do the first 2 gigs of the tour, which was a little bit scary, but the full implications of this pandemic hadn't actually come out yet. Excuse me. And the first gig was in a theatre where it was fairly easy for people to be spaced out, and the stage area was a long way from the audience, all those things. But the second date was a festival in Scotland where we were pretty much crammed together, and that was a little hairy, to be honest, because we still didn't really know what to expect. And whilst we were travelling after that gig, we were travelling south again, the phone started ringing, and basically bit by bit, our forthcoming tour was cancelled. Which for people in our position is pretty horrific, really. And we didn't really quite know what to make of it at the time. But as the day went on, it became more and more apparent that we weren't going to be working for quite a while.
The impact of this on my profession and my friends' professions, who also work in theatre, musical, I've got a lot of friends in the arts, has been huge. Our whole industry has basically had to put the handbrake on quite rapidly. And the problem with that is the recovery. It won't recover, it won't get back to normal for a very long time yet. And I also think, seeing as how they locked down the place gradually, they'll kind of put it back together in reverse, which means congregating in large groups will be the last thing that people will be allowed to do.
The main impact for me is having been a professional musician for probably close to 45 years, gigging anything from 3 to 6 or 7 nights a week. It stopped. It wasn't a wind down. It was just one week or one day you're gigging, next day you're not, which is very, very difficult to initially to come to terms with.
My source of income is mostly through my concerts, my teachings, and recordings. So since everything has got cancelled, so there's actually no source of income now. But what I'm doing is I'm catching up on my teaching. I do a lot of online teaching these days. So that has gone, it's becoming more now. So I'm teaching more these days. But it's going to be a big impact for everyone who's part of the entertainment industry, be it films or music or performances. Everyone's going to have a tough year, I think. This year is going to be a difficult one.
Professionally, yeah, I think it's been good because I've connected more to my fans or more to people that would never have heard me before. And even though I've had gigs cancelled, that in essence you could say that I've earned more money from online because I don't have to pay petrol and because it's just me on my own. I don't have to pay a band, which is sad because I love playing with other people.
Bizarre as it seems, I think my career has actually taken a bit of an upward tilt as a result of what's been going on, because I was out front a little bit just in terms of kind of seeing this thing coming. Other people were still playing shows. This Norwegian thing happened a bit earlier, my cancellation, so I was maybe got over it a little bit quicker. I don't really know, but what I was able to do was channel my energies into engaging audiences, and in this way, into this computer screen, in this environment. How am I going to do it? I brought out an album very, very quickly. I've just released another album, stuff that was stuff that I already had recorded in the past. So my engagement's gone up.
We're trying to do things remotely at the moment, which a lot of people are doing. So I'll video myself playing here, and the guys will individually video themselves playing, send the files to me, and I'll put those together.
I'm a harmonica player, I have my own band, my duet project with Julian Burdock or Marco Cinelli, and now I have no job.
Professionally, the impact it's had has just been, everything's been wiped out. Everything's literally just come to a complete standstill. So no touring, which means no money coming in. I was supposed to be in the studio recording. Obviously the studio is, closed, so I can't do that. So a lot of musicians are kind of, there's not really much people can do at the moment, apart from, obviously people are doing a few online things. But going forward, the future of it is so uncertain. The album that I will be recording as soon as I can get into the studio, we were due to release in the autumn, and on the winter tour we got like a 7 or 8 week tour planned. But will that go ahead as planned? Will it go ahead as normal? Will all the venues still be going? Will the promoters still be going? Are the ticket sales going to be the same? Are people going to be going out to venues? It's just a really uncertain future for the live music scene and recording artists in general. So nobody really knows how it's going to pan out and how long it's going to take to go back to normal.
For any musician that works on the road and earn a living from music, like myself, like hundreds and thousands of others, of course the impact is a pretty strong one. Speaking for myself, between now and the end of August, I lost close to some 45 shows. I had shows in Portugal lined up. As soon as I finished my last show in Brazil 4 weeks ago, I was getting a plane to Portugal to do some shows in Lisbon. And coming back to Brazil, I had a tour lined up for the rest of practically this month of April now. And eventually I was going to start gigs in Rome on the 18th of June, and from the 18th of June throughout to the south of France, Paris, and UK. running until the end of August. So the impact was quite a strong one.
To look at the positive on it, you know, the impact it's had professionally on us for music is that live streaming has found momentum. And
I feel like people have been forced to learn technology, which is cool, because we have always been into putting stuff out in different ways, kind of experimenting. Like we did a 360 video, which I would like to do a lot more of, kind of 360 3D stuff, but I don't feel like the world's been ready for it. So right now it's been same thing with live streams. I mean, we've done live streams before. We did live streams like 15 years ago with, was it livestream.com or what was that site?
Yeah, I think it was.
And like
Livestream,
what was the other one?
Ustream.
Like we used to do all those things. But it was like people weren't really ready for it. Like you could do like a one-off and like really plan it, like a stage it and like really get people behind it, but no one was just like sitting around. Like if you would do a Facebook live stream before, no one cared. You would have like one view.
The main thing has been the financial aspect and the worry. You know, you worry about your older relatives. I worry about my relatives in Italy. So that's affected my sort of mental state about it quite a lot, because I find myself sort of not really thinking about me and my family, because I feel like there's a lot more people in a lot more precarious positions, and I do worry about how they cope mentally, physically with it all, and financially. This is going to be big.
The progression and the release of this record has had to be like put on hold almost indefinitely, because we don't know when we're going to be back in a position where we're out in society and things are normal and we can be gigging and touring again, and also a point when people are going to want to join us at things like that. I feel like there's going to be an element of people being a little bit uneasy and unsure about being back in big group situations after being told you can't be in group situations because you could get this virus and you could become very sick.
The impact on me professionally has been pretty profound. It was pretty immediate after the lockdown here in Oregon. I lost a few dozen gigs within a matter of days, and my calendar has pretty much been cleared out. My husband is also a bass player. He works with Sugar Ray Rayford. They were due to go to Curacao and to Europe, and they were, they had a full slate of gigs. And so we are now a zero income family. So it's been rough.
Well, time will tell. I mean, I'm frightened that lots of venues won't recover from this and they won't reboot and restart. Also, gigs we were hoping to get for next year, we're not going to now, because those that are cancelling this year are just going to keep the same people, but a year later. So, and of course, when lockdown finishes, we can't just pick up and start running again. We've got to build things up again. So, not great, but I'm going to keep smiling.
As a performing musician, it's been interesting, because normally when you play, an audience would react to you and you've got that energy going on there. When you're doing it online, it's slightly different, but it's not impossible. In fact, it's actually quite enjoyable to see instant feedback streaming up the screen. But I think in terms of the way that humans interact, we've been doing a lot of it on screens, and so it's not been too difficult to make what we hope and believe is going to be a temporary change.
You have no shows, you have nothing to do. Lots of my friends are doing Facebook Live and live stream videos, and that's great. Unless your band is scattered all over the place, then it's really, really hard to do. We may have a couple little videos coming out, all done separately. But what we're doing to pass the time is, as I said, clean the house, organizing the lyrics, setting up, reworking the songs, and setting up for maybe some shows in 2021 and festivals in 2021. And we're just waiting for this to bypass and hope that everything comes out okay on the other end.
Of course, we've been developing skills, certainly in presenting live, on camera. But also, it's massive impact financially, because we've actually had no money, which is particularly tricky. And of course, our plight is shared with all full-time musicians all over the world and all supporting industries, your sound engineers, venues, everybody
Hotels,
else.
everyone.
The financial aspect, of course, that's devastating. But I'm happy to be here working on new material and practicing old material learning new things. We've got, I mean, also, you know, connecting up with new territories for later on. Nobody's booking right now, so it's pointless, you know, sort of pinpointing a time. But, you know, keeping connections open, talking to people, you know, connecting, keeping those channels open. It's important for an independent musician like myself. Professionally, I think it's going to make me a better pianist. And it's making me stand on my own 2 feet. Like I said, I'm often surrounded by really, really super talented musicians, and which has meant I've just had to sing, which I love doing, and I love just being able to sing. But this is, you know, throwing up challenges that I wouldn't usually have, and I do think that I will grow as a musician as this lockdown goes on. And, you know, I think entertainers will be the last to go back to work, so we've got a while of this. I've got a while to learn how to properly play the piano.
Well, the main thing is the cancellation of gigs and recording bookings. It's come at quite a frustrating time because we've just about finished building the recording studio and had a few bookings lined up, and it was, you know, looking forward to making some recordings. And now everything's on hold, so that's a real shame.
We're producing more material than we've ever had. Of course, we miss our live shows, but wow, having the time to take a minute and actually get some things done without getting interrupted is a new thing for us.
It is.
It's some positive things is that I'm involved in this cooperative called what's it called? The 2020 Music Collective. And well, there's a bunch of us writing music together, obviously remotely, and we're trying to basically get an album together every month if we can. We're going to see how that goes, but very creative time. And also learning, you know, how to use home technology, recording and stuff like that, which is something I've always avoided. I'm a bit of a technophobe and a Luddite. So it's been a good learning curve for me, just learning how to make one of these videos and turn the camera around and stuff like that. So that's a good thing, all positive stuff.
It's, yeah, it really just stopped me from doing live concerts and kind of being up close with my fans and my audience and my friends, and you know, it's a very weird thing, but I think I'll get used to it, and we'll just keep fighting and keep going as long as we can for this. But professionally, yeah, definitely playing cello with other artists, which I do as well as my own thing. I've had a bunch of that stalled, so yeah, just a bunch of work and a bunch of music stuff that I really could do with.
We have been told that we can apply for unemployment from the state of Oregon. We've been trying to do so, and the system seems kind of locked up and glitchy, so we haven't been able to receive a single week worth of benefits at this point.
I've got no state aid support, unfortunately. I'd seem to have dropped through the cracks despite being a professional musician for the whole of my adult life, well, earlier than my adult life actually. Here in the UK, I don't qualify for anything.
No, Brazil, for the artists and for the music, Brazil doesn't give any support whatsoever.
Yes, I am getting state aid. We're getting federal aid from our federal government. We're getting a couple $1,000 a month because our whole industry has just collapsed. And that's what we're doing. So in Canada, federal government has come by, said, we'll give you $2,000 a month if you're not working. And when you start working, just let us know. And jobs also at that point.
Any state aid to support our work, that's a work in progress.
I've had a lot of state aid over the last 3 years. The Arts Council, the DTI or the DIT, the PRS Foundation, they've given me a lot of money to make records, to tour records, to go into different territories. And so during this time I've decided that I'm not going to apply for any state aid because I feel I've had enough of it. So I want that to go to the people that really need it.
Well, we are on the
bottom of the food chain when it comes to government help.
You know, it's been said that we have federal and state aid available that, you know, might help out musicians, you know, but man, I gotta tell you, you know, everything is so overly taxed right now, you know, that, you know, it's almost impossible to get in line to get something, and when you do get in line, all the funds are gone. And
well, we've applied for state support, but it's not come through yet because, you know, with 5 million unemployed people, you know, that's a lot of people to get through. We've had a subsidy, £200 each from the MUs, so thank you very much for that. That's kept us going for a few days for sure.
I have not personally gotten any aid from any of the music grants and all that stuff, but I did get the $1,200 that was awarded to some of us in the stimulus package here in the United States, and I put that to the side for emergency purposes. These are crazy times.
But yeah, they've kind of promised to pay something, which will be based on your previous year's taxes and capped at a certain amount. The problem is, this lockdown has happened at the time when I would imagine most musicians make probably over 50% of their year's earning.
I don't really qualify for any Australian social security or anything like that, and maybe I do in Britain, I don't know, but at the moment I'm doing a lot of online streaming to try to get by, trying to sell some merchandise, not selling my guitar though.
As of today, we haven't gotten anything from our government and for our business or for us personally, and we might not get anything because everything just seems messed up. When I look up the status for our personal ones, it says like status can't be found.
We have applied for like government help, so universal credit and things like that, purely because it's just the only thing we can do. We don't have a salary of money still coming in every month. If we don't perform, then we don't make money to pay the rent and the bills and things.
No, I haven't had any state aid. I have been eligible for the PRS fund, Musicians Union, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I've kept it to that.
No, but here's hoping. I've applied, so we'll see.
No, I have not. I have applied for the British state support, which is called universal credit. I don't think I'm going to get any because it's based on income per household, and although I'm not able to earn at the moment, my wife still does bring home a wage.
Until the time of this interview, no, I've had no state aid at all to help me. I've been paying my taxes, my national insurance, etc., etc. I've had no help whatsoever. Luckily, when I was earning, I managed to save a little bit, which is what we're living on at the moment.
No, I do not have any state aid, and I've been okay financially, at least for a year or two. I can survive, and in India there's a lot of poverty, and there are a lot of people who are literally working every day to eat, for their shelter, for their food. So they're the ones who need more support from the government.
Nope. A big resounding zero.
I haven't had any state aid. I'm not classified to have that because I get a little bit of pay from the school, so I can't apply for universal credit or anything like that.
Myself, just like everyone else, is hitting those buttons and trying to get as much aid as possible to help us through a very, very difficult financial time as well, for not just for me but for everyone. So, I'm sure there's a massive backlog of claims and everywhere for everyone getting panicked and worried about their financial situation. I'm no different. But we just have to put our faith in the system and just give them a bit of chance and a bit of patience.
Fingers crossed something will come through. We shall see. But the honest answer to that is up to now, no.
Okay, so financially, I do actually qualify for some government help. But my wife, who is also full-time in the music industry, we work together. She runs a record label that we have, and she also manages me, does all the logistics of that kind of thing. She doesn't qualify because of her personal, or our personal circumstances. She was on maternity leave, so her situation is a grey area, and she kind of falls through the cracks.
No, I haven't. No, this recording studio business is too new to be able to qualify for any support. So that's the way it's rolled this time.
I'm a freelance. I pay my tax every month, and now the government gave me a small contribution. It's not enough, but it's better than nothing.
I'm scared for the scene. I don't know how long this social distancing is going to go on for, and even when lockdown unlocks, you know, the entertainers will be the last people to go back, and that is a sad thing, and it's lots of, you know, it's just going to be really tough. So I'm scared for the scene, scared for my family, and friends, and I just want people to be safe.
We're worried that when everything calms down, people might still be afraid to go to concerts.
I do think that a lot of the smaller venues are going to go. I mean, I'd like to think not, but that's one of my fears.
My age and my underlying other problems that I have, but it's how to get back into playing, working again, because it's how, not just on a personal level, but how we're going to restart this whole situation.
I fear that it'll come back if we don't take the precautions to get it under control. So, you know, it's basically stupid people not adhering to the rules of keeping this under control, saving lives. You know, I've got family that are in the NHS. They're doing such an amazing job, and when people go out, it blatantly puts all that to insignificance, and it's infuriating.
So my biggest fear is that people rush to get back into regular life, and because it seems so contagious, it's not just going to disappear. It's going to be there, and if you do it too soon, then you're just going to get a spike again and a ton of trouble.
I have a lot of fears for the consequences that this is going to bring to not only for Brazil, but several countries all over the world, for the whole world for that matter, especially for people who be in need of hospitals, people who be in need of health attentions, you know, elderly people.
That people are still not taking it seriously enough. We've had to close off all the parks and parking lots and places where people can gather because of people who just don't think this is serious, which boggles my mind.
Obviously, our main concern for the planet, for everyone on the planet, is obviously the safety of everyone and everyone's health. You know, obviously this is a serious pandemic, a serious virus that's going around, and it's causing, as we see on the news every day, people are dying from it every day.
A lot of small businesses are going to struggle, for sure. I mean, we've got there's a print shop in Germany that we use that does our tour posters, and they already told us weeks and weeks ago that if this whole situation carries on, that, you know, in a matter of, you know, weeks, possibly a couple of months, they're going to go under. That's them finished. So, and it'll be the same for a lot of smaller businesses, smaller clubs, suppliers, and all this sort of thing that, you know, help the whole thing keep moving.
There are these two things I feel. One is economic condition and other is health condition. So to have a proper balance of these two is going to be a little difficult for this year. If you try to save economy, then you're going to lose people. You're going to, you know, this is going to spread more, and vice versa. So that's the biggest fear.
That people forget that we are humans and we rely on each other and that we depend on each other for support. My fears are that people will point fingers and blame and find excuses to be negative and to be separate. and to forget that ultimately no man is an island, and we need to work together to get through all of this.
My fears are for people. I fear the people who are already sick. If they get this, will get sicker, and a lot won't recover. So I fear for my older relatives. I fear for my family in Italy. I fear for the industry that we work in, because, like I said, ours will be the last that will go back to normal as soon as big groups are allowed to congregate together. But even then, the work and the planning that goes into making tours happen, even making standalone shows happen, is huge. It's months' work in advance. So even when we're told that things will change and we can maybe go back to normal, we'll still be months away from making anything happen.
Do you know what? I don't have any fears. I will deal with things as they come up. I will make decisions based on the facts that I'm presented with. I don't buy into all of the media speculation.
Well, it's the time span, really. How long is it going to take? When can we start rebooking some gigs? And also those poor venues, the ones that are struggling, the ones that may not be able to get back on their feet. Life may well not be the same afterwards. So I think we really are all brooking it.
I think my biggest concern is, when this thing is really lifted, and we start going back to the clubs and so forth, our people are going to be so afraid, that they're not going to come out.
I don't think this has been handled that well, and I don't think it'll be continued to be handled that well. And my fears are the way, like, for example, I was wearing a mask to go to the shop today, and I was just waiting in the queue, and some dude just starts laughing at me. And there's this separation started occurring because I've decided to wear a mask. But I don't care that he hasn't decided to. I'm not judging him at all, but it's all this judgment going on. And
well, I have a lot of fear for my own health. I have some health issues that require me to take some medication that kind of beats up on my immune system. So I've always been cognizant of that. When I'm at gigs and people are shaking your hand and they're hugging you and they've been drinking a bit much and talking in your face, it worries me just to get a cold because it affects my voice. But this time, this sucker can be deadly. So we've already seen a few great musicians, both well-known and more regionally known, some blues artists who have passed away from this.
My fear is not having enough work to pay our bills and losing my house that I have fought 20 years to keep.
I'm worried about the music situation. Maybe some clubs are gonna close for this pandemic. Maybe less festival editions in the future. That means less work for everybody.
It's really the repercussions after that concern me most. The strain on the healthcare system and the economy and how that's going to have knock-on effects spread far and wide, and we know who suffers worse. And when the economy's under strain, it's poor people that suffer the most. So that's a big concern. And how the hospitals and healthcare system are going to cope, because you say when the pandemic is over, but how far-reaching that's going to be is very difficult to say.
My main concerns centre around the well-being of my loved ones. I obviously don't want anyone to get sick, and that's overwhelming everything else. The financial implications are pretty dire for everyone who's involved in music, and hopefully we can, by being creative, work out ways to get through it. But I'm sceptical there'll be much help from the establishment on that front.
The thing that I fear is what happens when we get back to normal. And I don't think we'll ever get back to the way that we were in the past. One thing that I've learned during this time is that, hugging and shaking hands, these are important. Humans need human touch. And so are people going to have PTSD? Are people not going to want to hug you? Are people not going to want to shake your hand? Are people going to be fearful of going to restaurants and movies and stuff like that?
Well, the fears and concerns we've got about the situation is the fact that a lot of the venues and festivals will no longer be there when it all starts up again, which it will do. And that is a very sad thing, and we're hoping that everybody can hang on, they get government support, or they get support from everybody really to keep it going while this is happening.
Some venues will disappear through this. I think some of the promoters will feel, gosh, I've done my stint, that was tiring, I've just realised how tired I am. I don't think I'll give it a miss from now on and give myself a treat and a bit of a breather. I hope not.
It wasn't the general public that decided to underfund and under-resource the NHS, yet they're the ones that are suffering from that right now. So yes, we could have, as a country, we could have planned for this much better. We could have funded our NHS properly and make sure it wasn't so stretched before a pandemic of this size even arrived.
Just to keep positive and hope it doesn't happen again. Be positive, keep smiling, keep working on your music. That's all I can say, really.
People who use all the streaming services, that they're going to get to a point where they so miss live gigs that they'll never take them for granted again.
How little as fellow, we communicated as musicians. I mean, other than us talking about our instruments and projects that we're working on, it's just making that contact with each other, just finding out how you are. That there's more to musicians that you meet on gigs than just them playing as their instrument.
How much we rely on the things that we seem to have taken for granted. We take music for granted, a lot of people, I think, and it's amazing how quickly we've come to rely on it. We maybe take each other for granted a little bit, and it's amazing to see how communities have sprung up and are supporting each other using technology.
Who knows? This is a first for everybody. I suppose generally, make the most of the here and now and the good things in life, and appreciate the good things in life.
There's a lot of opportunity here for fans and artists to connect, and not just in music, in every form of art and learning. It's kind of like, Robin had a lot of success when YouTube first came out because it was a new thing. Like, we were both on the MySpace thing, as many of you were, and like it kind of gave again, independent creators a platform where they could reach a lot of people at once for the first time in that way, and worldwide. So between MySpace and then YouTube blowing up, I feel like this is the first time since those times that I have felt this energy around connecting with people in a new way.
I've learned a lot more from it. I've learned how to be at home a lot better. Like I said, my life's heavily built around touring and leaving and not being here very often. So being at home has been a challenge because I'm not used to it. So I've learned a lot about how I can make being at home easier on my family when I come back from touring, because I think it's tough on them with me coming back and forwards and finding it hard to settle.
How important community is. I've been blown away by the way that communities have come together, by the way that people have helped other people. And, at times you could say we live in a very selfish world, and I think this pandemic is making people less selfish. And I think if we can take that into what comes next, I think that will be really important. If people can learn from that and learn to be open and honest and not selfish, and to give and know that we are not in control. So stop trying to control stuff and just be generous and loving and kind. I think that's really important.
from a professional standpoint, I've been able to do live stream shows from my living room and be part of things like Lockdown Festival, where I was able to connect with people across the world, which is something I can't do. Like I don't get to tour proficiently around the globe, and I don't have a fan base that's around the globe, but doing little things like that means that you've reached into a pocket of different people, and those people have then liked my music page and they've purchased my CDs from my website, or they've sent a tip via like a donation link, and now they're watching my daily video series and they comment on that saying, we saw you at Lockdown Festival and now we're fans of you and blah blah blah. And it's really nice. Like it's ended up meaning that we have been able to almost branch out further than we ever would and communicate and connect with people that we potentially may never have, like in the real life situation when we go out and we gig, because we might not have gone to that person's little town, or we might not have gone to that person's country, or that person won't know who I am, so they might not have come to my gig. And it's kind of pure fluke that they now know who I am and I know who they are.
The thing to remember is how we depended on the thing on which we depended, and how important each other, togetherness, community and the creative arts have shown themselves to be.
Normally, we are deep down in the routine, and I think it's better spend time with our family or friends. I know maybe it sounds like utopic, but normally we don't appreciate this moment, and I think it's time to think in this. And me. Now I put the focus in all of this.
We really did need to sort of stop and look at the way of life, because everything is, going so fast all the time, and the world's in a state, and this would have never have happened unless it had to happen. And so there is a few things good that's coming out of this. That's going to benefit the planet, etc., and benefit people's health. I mean, people have had to stop and take stock of what they do, how they live their lives, relationships, etc., etc. It's all under scrutiny. As if you can't live with someone for 24 hours a day, it's kind of coming out in the wash, as they say. So, it's a turn of the kaleidoscope, and everything changes.
I think it's teaching us all a little bit about personal hygiene, isn't it? I don't know whether we're going to go back to chucking our arms around each other and handshaking and etc., etc. Some of the best things in life, really, I think.
People are connecting with other people more now than they ever have. I think we're very lucky that we live in a time of modern technology and the ability to video chat somebody from your phone very instantly, and I think that people are more connected to family and friends now than they ever have been. There's definitely there's a sense of, although you're apart from each other, you very much kind of united and you're together.
I think actually always looking back and never forgetting mistakes. Like, there is no harm in going, yes, there was a mistake made, and then learning from that. In fact, that's what I teach pupils all the time. Every day I'm saying as a musician to people, it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, loud and proud. Like, it's about learning from those mistakes. And I think if you don't look back, if you don't look at history and see how linear it is, then going forward, you're just going to make the same mistakes over and over again, which we do anyway. Humanity will always do. So I don't think that's going to change.
I think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned for this. The first word that came to mind, solidarity. A little bit more caring for each other, and less competitions, less envy, and less urge for power.
I think there's so much to be learned from this, and I hope the main thing is that we look at a different way of organising our society. It's an absolute mess at the moment, and it has been ramping up that way for the last 40 years, and the severity of what we're going through right now has been influenced by the running down of the NHS and the welfare state, social services and so on. The fact that a lot of the bailouts that we're looking at all over the world are going towards the richest and most powerful again, after the same as 2008, I think that's a cause for concern, and we need to make sure that we don't forget that we have a voice about these things.
What is actually of use is what my savings are. So everyone should actually think that if I hope it doesn't happen again, the situation does not come again, but if it happens, then they should have some money to survive and take care of those days. That's the first thing. Secondly, be independent. As an Indian, I was never used to cleaning houses and cooking myself. So I used to do it once in a while when I travel abroad, and that's also once in a while. I'm very pampered even otherwise.
We can come together as a human race, be nicer to one another, treat the planet with a bit more respect, treat each other with a bit more respect, and we're now realising as well that with the lockdown restrictions and everything else that's going on and all the things we're not allowed to do that we all take for granted, we now see that life can be a little bit simpler. It can be a little bit simpler for us, and we can live without a lot of things. I think that we've taken for granted, and we think that we can't manage without.
Well, this coronavirus has exposed a lot of weaknesses in our healthcare system, in our social systems, in our electoral systems. All these weaknesses being exposed, I hope that it leads to the United States and other nations deciding that we can't live this way anymore. We can't leave people basically like out in the jungle fending for themselves. We need to take care of our people. We need to respect scientists and people in medicine. We need to take care of our healthcare workers and our educators and our essential workers, and realize that we're all in this together.
All those usual government cutbacks on health systems across the world, and especially the G7 nations, makes the politicians look pretty short-sighted at this moment. And just keep in mind, it's the artists, musicians, the painters, the videographers that are keeping you sane, not the accountants and lawyers.
It's all about financial planning on a personal level. We're doing fine, but a lot of our friends, you have to plan out things financially ahead of time.
How do you make money, and how do you create a secure platform for the independent music industry? Because I think what's happened right now with streaming and things like that is it's taken all the money out of the independent music industry and it's put it in the hands of the major labels.
I think this whole situation will definitely serve as a reminder to a lot of people that, not to take what we do for granted, as musicians, touring, recorded artists or whatever. It's very easy to, get into a thing where it's just the norm and that's what you do and this is how you earn your living. But, realising that we're actually in a very privileged position to be able to, if you can make a living out of music, you're doing something that you absolutely love, it's a real passion, and you can pay your mortgage from it. I mean, that's a really, not everybody can do that. And if you can, then that's, you're very lucky to be in that position. And now that's been taken away. We can't go out and perform, we can't see people. So I think another thing that we'll take from this is to learn to be more resourceful and adaptable to the situation.
It'll make people think about other things maybe they didn't think about before, and kind of reprioritize certain things in their lives. And we'll see. Hopefully it's positive. I mean, it's been an awful thing. We've lost so many people, and it's very sad. But at the same time, I think there will be some positives coming out of this.
Got investment in the health service by government. Stop rinsing out public services for private benefit.
The biggest lesson that I think we can learn is, be careful, who we entrust with our well-being in terms of our government officials, because, hey man, pandemics have throughout history. You know, if we learn anything from history, you know, they're gonna come. You know, and we have got to be better prepared. Our system has to be better, you know, in place, you know, to help mitigate, you know, the damages, you know, and I mean, because we were totally swept off our feet with this one.
Well, back to the healthcare, being more appreciative, especially in the UK of the NHS, of course, and also being more mindful about the environment, for sure. I mean, I'm sure we've all noticed the impact that it's had. Cleaner skies and cleaner rivers, and there just seems to be a positive effect on the environment at the moment. Let's see how long that continues and how much appreciation we show for that when it's all over, or if we just all go nuts. Who knows?
I think we've lived in this false sense of security, feeling like we are in control. Like humans are in control, and we built our whole world on the fact that we think that we can control stuff, and nature has reminded us that we are very much not in control.
Getting out, getting in that van, putting my gear in the van, going and playing, setting it up and making a racket. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Gigs. I can't wait to be gigging with my friends again. My people I love the most and I get on with most in the world are musicians.
Sitting at the bar having a drink with my brothers. I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, you know, and you know, spreading some of this blues, you know, spreading some of this good music, you know.
Things I'm looking forward to most when lockdown is over and we're re-released back to the wild is basically just seeing the people that I haven't been able to see. You know, it's like you know, I can take some shopping to my mother and leave it at her front door and sort of have a safe distance chat to her, but she's dying to hug me. I am as well.
Of course, being able to tour, restaurants being open, and social life, and being able to pet other people's dogs, and travel.
You know, one of the first things that I'm going to want to do is actually drink a Corona after this is said and done, and hug somebody.
Physical contact, just hi, and sticking the kettle on and saying, you know, hanging out.
Or even better, going to the pub.
Aha!
Because, you know, both our sons live in the UK, one in London, one in North Yorkshire, and we stay with Joe and Christina, who are in North Yorkshire, quite regularly. And they have some great pubs up there with great beers. I'm looking out, going out with those guys.
Because I'm not a good musician to practice, to sit down with my drum kit and practice. I've never been that way, but it'd be good to be able to communicate musically as well with other musicians, just to get back out there and feeding off each other musically.
Gigging. I love it. I love gigging. There's nothing quite like it, and whilst I really enjoy doing the streaming gig I did the other week, I thought that was really good fun, but a very strange experience not being able to get any sort of feedback from people when you're playing, and that's kind of where the energy comes from.
Firstly, to be outdoors. I mean, we've been indoors for more than 3 weeks now, so the first thing would be to go on a holiday in nature. I think one of my favorite places in India is Goa, so hopefully I'll go to Goa and spend some time there, with friends and with everyone around.
I am looking forward to seeing my friends, my fans, my bandmates. I am looking forward to traveling. We want to go to the Midwest. We want to go back to Boston, back to Florida, California. I want to go back to the UK, want to go back to Europe. I want to see my friends, my family. Maybe we won't be hugging and kissing on each other so much. Maybe we won't be doing a lot of handshakes, But it's such a pleasure to be able to do this for a living, to be able to perform live for people, and to see the smiles on their faces out there in the audience. And that's really what I'm looking forward to.
I'm missing going to a bar and deciding that it's rubbish and wanting to leave rather than not being told I can't go to a bar. I was talking about that with my friends last night, and we were all saying we were really looking forward to meeting up in London, going to a bar, agreeing the bar was rubbish, and then going back to someone's place for a drink, but that being our choice.
Getting out and speaking face to face with some people, I've noticed when I've been having phone calls and video chats with people, even just the sound of another person's voice can be really emotive. So what it's going to be like when I'm presented with them in physical form, I guess it's going to be emotional.
I'm interested to see how the world has changed and how people's perceptions have changed, especially from live music. Knowing that it's like it can be taken away from you, I hope that people will appreciate going to see small bands in small venues and feeling that energy, and something that's would be gratefully missed for quite a few months or even more than that, you know. So I think that I'm looking forward to seeing what effect it's had on it, and hoping that it's a positive thing. I'm also just looking forward to playing live again.
To come back out and to play music in the same space, physical space, as people. I look forward to seeing my students again, physically seeing them. I look forward to sharing the music that we have made whilst we've been locked down, and to being part of the celebrations that we are once again physically joined together as communities.
Getting back on stage, most definitely getting back on stage and hearing and seeing the audience.
First of all, I like to get together with the family again. I like to be able to see my son again, who currently lives in UK, give him a big hug and a kiss, and gather the family around the table again.
Meet my family, drink some beer with my friends, make some jokes with them, walking up the streets, drive, and of course play on the stage.
Getting out and seeing my family, my friends, and getting out and playing music and touring and doing what I do best, and I just really miss it all. You know, being able to get out in the world, because for me as a person, I found the social distancing thing very hard, because I'm really an in-person kind of guy. You know.
And what I'm looking forward to is having dinner with my friends, having a barbecue, playing with my bandmates, and going to festivals and talking to people and enjoying the music once again.
Playing live, of course. We miss having performances in front of live audiences.
Getting back on stage, there's nothing like playing in front of audiences. So we crave that, all of us musicians.
Definitely seeing my family. I haven't seen my mum for months, so I'm really looking forward to seeing her, because we FaceTime every day, but there's only so much that can do. So I'm really looking forward to like giving my mum a hug and being able to see her.
Being able to go out unrestricted and, you know, interact with other humans, just in general would be nice, you know. Driving the van to a gig, loading my gear in, setting up, sound checking, going to find somewhere to eat, all that kind of stuff. The normal kind of fare that we do on a tour, I love it and I really miss it. And the kind of things like, you know, and it's all that kind of routine stuff, which probably could sound mundane, but I absolutely love it. And just things like that, being able to just driving the van for a couple of hours on the M1.
I think there'll be some changes in technology that will be really interesting for creators, and I'm excited to see what people make.
I keep on imagining the first gig. I don't know what that gig is going to look like. I don't know if it will be a festival or a club gig, because we just don't know how long this is going to go on for. But I feel like the first gig is just going to be incredible.
Freedom. 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 Oh, freedom.